Hi guys, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're bringing to you a Leatherman knife. Yes, Leatherman has a fairly decent knife out, a knife that has a number of variants. I've counted at least 9 different variants. We've got the base version of it here today. It's a carry kind of size folder for everyday tasks, that kind of knife. And if you're interested at all what Leatherman has come up with for an EDC style knife, stick around and we'll do a tabletop review of this actually very interesting blade with a lot of features that are somewhat unusual and you don't see very often. Stick around. First thing that I want to look at is the packaging. So here we go. There's the packaging, the CRATER C33. This is the back of the packaging. So you've got the description of what's inside there. And there it is at the bottom. It looks like this thing's made in Portland, Oregon. I was thinking at first this thing's going to be made in China, but nope. One thing I did notice is says for USA sale only. I bought this guy at Amazon.ca. The other side was, blister pack or clamshell pack, whatever you want to call it. This is a 2-tool version. This is the most plain Jane version of the CRATER C33. Slim design, carabiner bottle opener, and it comes with a 25-year warranty. So this is what you get right here. You've got glass-filled nylon handle scales. And you've got 420 high carbon stainless steel. They're calling it an improved high carbon form of 420 stainless steel. That's what they're saying on their website. I'm not sure exactly when this improvement took place, but it's a decent 420 steel. I'm not calling it a mid-grade kind of steel. I think it's an entry-level steel, but it's the higher end of the entry-level group. Kind of where I put 440C, those kinds of steels like that. At the higher end of the budget level is where I put this 420 high carbon steel. It's a good steel. It takes an edge well, it keeps an edge well, and it cuts really well. You'll see on the cut test later on. So let's get into some of the details of the cutting edge, and then later on we'll get into the unique details of this knife. What we've got is a hollow grind here. We've got a swedge on this drop point on either side, and flat area here. Flat area is great if you've got the kind of sharpening system where you clamp on like a Lansky or something similar to the Lansky, but maybe more expensive. Right down in there is where you've got your little C33 label. It's a right side only thumb stud. Although you've got a cutout on the left side, there's no thumb stud over there. I thought that was kind of strange when I saw that. I figure if you're going to give a cutout in the handle, you might as well put a thumb stud on that side so that lefties have an easy time. Otherwise, why cut it out? Why put if you take the pocket clip off, you can see that they put this exact same kind of, let's get the light just right. They put this exact same kind of cutout for your thumb to fit in on the left side as they do on the right side, and there's no sense in doing that if you're not going to put a thumb stud there. That's the first odd thing that I noticed. Not a big deal, but it's a big enough deal if you're a lefty. I'm ambidextrous. I was left-handed when I grew up. 3 older brothers that I had, plus an older sister. From a poor immigrant family, I got all the hand-me-downs. They were all right-handed, so I learned how to be right-handed. So I'm pretty much, with knives, I'm pretty much right-handed, although I'm left-handed to a degree. So let's keep on moving from there. That's the first odd thing. But the edge comes with a fairly sharp edge from the factory. Nice. A bead blast finish on the blade. And then you've got your laser etching name on there. The steel is not all that thick. I forgot to take a measurement of the thickness of the steel. I'll do that in a minute, but first let's take the lengths. The cutting edge, it doesn't have like the typical rounded sharpener's choil, but it's got a sharpener's choil of sorts. And so the cutting edge starts right where my fingernail is right there. And it comes up 2 7/16 inches, which is 6.2 centimeters. Although they say that the blade is 2.6 inches and 6.6 centimeters, I guess they're measuring from the tip of the blade to the handle, which they normally do. It's a little more generous that way. The handle itself, they're calling 3.87 inches and 9.82 centimeters. I'm calling it 3 7/8 and 10 centimeters, just because, that just seems to fit my brain better. 3 7/8 and 10 centimeters makes more sense. The weight on this knife is 2.4 ounces, just under 2.4 ounces, right around 67 grams or so. So it's a nice light knife. It's a good EDCing weight. The glass-filled nylon handles really help with the weight. Not only are they glass-filled nylon, which makes it light, but they're pretty thin. And you don't have an awful lot of steel. You have got almost nothing for a liner on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, you've got, a sort of liner that's not, I wouldn't call it skeletonized, but it's a small liner in there. It's a liner that's just big enough to meet the requirements to make this knife functional. So that's the basics of this knife. Let me go get my vernier calipers and we'll measure how thick the spine of this blade is. My calipers say that the blade is 0.9 inches, which is 2.3 centimeters. That's plenty enough steel to get the show going, and with that hollow grind, it cuts quite well. Pocket clip. I'm going to take that pocket clip off because I want to show you something. Leatherman does not cut any corners with this knife, and that's why I'm taking this off. It's not good enough to tell you. I want to show you, because showing you is much better than just telling you this. Look at that. You can see it right off the bat. Brass. They put in brass nested threads to screw in your pocket clip. A lot of knives, they'll just have you screw into the liner. And so you've got a really thin section to screw into. Nope, not Leatherman. They're going to make it function really well by having you screw right into a nested thread, which is a really good thing. And here's what I was talking about before with this cutout here on the glass-filled nylon, that they could have very easily put a two-way thumb stud in there. But you can't put the pocket clip on the other side. It is sort of a one-side kind of pocket clip. It only works going the one way. They wouldn't have to make it curve the other way for it to work on the left side. I want you to check this out. Right there, you can see that little dimple, or that thing sticking out there. It's kind of a guide on the glass-filled nylon where when you close the blade, this hollow grind comes and meets up with it right where the grind ends and the flat of the steel comes up. And so it stops the knife from being able to slide from side to side. I've not seen that on other knives. I'm not sure why they put it in there, but it's there. A liner lock right here. The liner lock on this particular sample goes all the way to the right-hand side, and it looks like it almost touches that great big bronze or brass washer that's on the right-hand side here. And that's kind of unique too. Look how thick that washer is. You can see it in this view. See how thick that washer is right there? That's a huge washer that they put in. That thing is not going to wear out in your lifetime. There's a reason this thing's got a 25-year warranty on it. That washer is going to last. You've also got a larger than average washer on the left-hand side as well. Again, a phosphor bronze washer on that side. And those two phosphor bronze washers mean this. It just flips really, really well. I've done nothing to adjust the pivot on this knife. So those washers are the second kind of odd thing, the size of those washers. They're just, major. First thing is that piece of plastic that comes out right there, washers. What's the third thing? Well, there's no stop pin on this knife. You've got the liner coming out here, and then the piece of steel from the liner just folds over, and that becomes the stop part for the blade. So the tang of the blade comes up. There's the tang of the blade, and it's going to come, and it just hits that stop right there. So no stop pin to put in. So the stop pin could either wear in the hole or create problems, or might not be put in correctly or whatever. This is such a simple, elegant-ish solution. It looks simplistic. It looks too easy. It looks too plain, but it's totally functional and it works really well. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. So that's the third kind of oddity, is the stop pin that they've got there. You can also see great big hole there. That's the big detent hole. So the detent on here is also the next thing that you're number 4. And that is, there's not a detent on this liner. It's just, at least not a detent ball. The detent is just, they took the lock arm, and they just pressed in at one spot and created a rise, a little bump. And instead of putting a ball in, it's just a bump, and that sort of sits in that little hole, and that creates the detent. And it's fully functional. That's one thing where I think a detent ball would be a better solution, but this is a budget knife made in the United States, and you're going to be surprised when I tell you the price. For a knife that's made in the US, might as well go to the prices right now. This thing retails at Leatherman's own website for $29.85 Canadian, and on their American site, $22 US even. If you go to Amazon, you can save $1, $1.10. Amazon.ca, Amazon.com, respectively. So for a knife that's just over 20 bucks, wow, made in the United States, not bad. And so I don't worry about that detent ball. That's number 4 of the strange things. And number 5 is, ta-da, it's got a carabiner clip built right in, and it's a huge carabiner clip for the size of the knife. It's huge enough, totally adequate. And once it's open, it locks into place, and all you have to do to close it, and a lot of people, when they get this knife, are not sure how to close it. All you have to do is push in. That's what I'm doing with my hand, pushing in, and then you can go ahead and close it up towards the spine, and it's closed and it's out of the way. Very interesting, lightweight, small EDC style knife, quite unique. Probably 6 things if you count the brass threaded inserts right there. So it's a very unique knife. Torx construction here, so you can adjust it yourself. The glass-filled nylon has got texturing, pitted texturing up there, and then this striped texturing on the sides there. It actually does offer a good grip in the hand, partly because of the choil here for the finger. And then you've got a belly and a little bit of a room for your fingers back here. It's a 4-finger hold for my hand. I wear a large size glove, but I'm not a super large hand. My hand, if I had to change sizes, it would be closer to a medium than an extra large, but it is in that large range, and it fits in this knife really, really well. So let's see how well this knife cuts. I've had this knife for about a month and a half, and I've used it, for a fair bit of testing, and it's still kept a pristine edge. Cuts really, really well. That 420 high carbon steel, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Let's try to cut a little bit of paracord. So there's 4 layers of paracord, just zips through that. I've got some 1-inch banding, and it just cuts through that really easily. So you've got the testing that I've done, a little bit of demonstrations of cutting. It's a knife that looks good, it feels good, it cuts well, the price is great. The only negative I have is that on mine, the lockup is a little bit later than I'd like it to be, but lockup is solid. There's no up and down play. There's no by side to side play. The whole knife moves a bit side to side, and that's because it's got the FRN handle scales without a liner on the one side. So the whole thing's got just a slight flex to it, but there's not actual blade play in the pivot. Feels nice, looks nice. Actually, the two negatives are, I wish it would have thumb studs going all the way through, two-sided thumb studs. That's number one I wish it had. And I wish lockup was just slightly earlier. That's being a little bit nitpicky on a knife that's this price with this kinds of options. I'll show you a picture of the 9 different variants that this thing comes in. I'll insert that right here. So if you're interested in them, give them a shot. Remember, friends, if you're not yet a subscriber, please subscribe. Click on the bell that's beside the subscribe button so that you can be, well, a little pop-up will come up asking you to fill in a checkbox so that you'll be notified of every video. That will stop YouTube from unsubscribing you, which they've been doing to some subscribers. They've been doing it to me on some of the channels that I subscribe to, and I don't know why they do that, but they've been doing that. You want to be notified because come the end of March, I'm going to be doing another big giveaway. That'll be my 1-year anniversary. And remember, guys, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.